everyone, come on in because we are here to talk about Ready to Love, a season 10, episode 11. They call him this convict curveball. Not another convict, y'all. Not another prison man. Are you kidding me, y'all? Really, Rose? Really? Another criminal, another convict? Y'all, you got to really think about where we started. What a curveball this season has done to us. Remember, we started off with Tay, who had the pick of the litter. She decided to go with Cisco. No car, no house, homeless, shelter. And as this week we saw, zero accountability. He don't take no accountability at all for where his life is. And his sister is adding to the problems, talking about it's just a blimp in the road. This is more than a blimp. This is a whole roadblock. I don't know what these people are talking about. And then we started off with high class Kiera. We done found out that Kiera also has a convict baby daddy, and she's not high class. She's not. But we're going to talk about that. And then we start off with perfect Rose, the Proverbs wife. Come to find out she's a whole liar. Lies by omission, that's a whole lie. She can say, well, I didn't tell you because you didn't ask. That's a whole lie. The Proverbs wife is lying, talking about I'm wife material. I don't know. Not with lies by omission like that. No, you not. And then we started off with Sahara, dry as the Sahara Desert, and she was supposed to be the most ghetto of all. And as of this episode, she outshining a lot of these ladies. But we're going to talk about her too. So right now, we are only left with 4 men, y'all. We down to the final 4 with Jay, Cisco, Hussein, and Cam. And this episode, we're going to get to meet the loved ones of the men. But Cisco is already rolling his eyes because he ain't happy about it. Why not, Cisco? What I want to know, Cisco, is when I meet whoever comes for you, what I want to ask them is, why didn't you take Cisco in? Why did you make Cisco go to a homeless shelter, a transitional housing? Why couldn't your loved one, if he's a loved one, come sleep on your couch? I need to hear Cisco's story of why he became homeless and why no one wanted to take him in. Just like I want to know from Rose, and I also want to know from Kiera, why are your men in prison? And I know some of y'all going to say, what difference does it make? No, it makes a big difference, because here's what I want to know. I want to know, like, why you went to prison. Was it like an act of rage and he was just a completely different person when you were with him? Or was he a guy that was doing illegal stuff, selling drugs, thieving, stuff you knew about, but you were willing to turn a blind eye? And then when he got caught, you dumped him. Because that speaks to character. That's the Phaedra Park story, right? The idea that you're willing to be with a criminal as long as the money's coming in, but the minute he gets caught, you disown him. That's what I want to know. Or, was he, did some crime and you had nothing about it, and it was like, I don't know, like a one-time thing, but yet he's in prison. You see, I need to hear the story. So when Rose says it doesn't matter, it matters. It matters a lot. And she later on tried to gaslight the hell out of Cam as if he was the problem. But anyway, when we meet Cisco's loved ones, I want to know, why didn't you take him in? Because I want to know who Cisco is, to the point that he had no relatives, no friends who said, you know what, we done with you, guy, go to a shelter. That's what I want to know. I want to know who he really is. But anyway, the first person we get to meet, a family, we get to meet Jay. Jay done brought the whole crew out. He done brought the cousin, the mama, the daddy, the aunt. And we find out that Jay's parents have been married for 25 years. You remember, Jay's a long-term relationship guy. Last relationship he was in it for 11 years, but he didn't marry the girl. So he's trying to be a little bit like his parents, but without the paperwork. I guess that's what he's doing out here. But anyway, high class Kiara came to meet the parents empty-handed. The only reason I'm going to really get on Kiara is because Kiara has built herself as high class. If she just told us she was a regular woman, then I wouldn't be here. But when someone presents themselves as high class, I expect high class behavior. And it's not high class behavior to show up to meet parents without a gift in hand. You could bring anything. You could bring a plant. You could bring a bottle of wine. You could bring a bottle of sparkling cider if you don't drink alcohol. If the parents don't drink alcohol, you could bring something. If you're going to be high class and if you're going to run around and call yourself high class, you have to do high class things. And showing up to meet family, parents, with nothing in hand, not giving the parents either a handshake, a hug, anything, it's not high class. You see, we're gonna peep you out really, really fast. So that's just my advice to Kiara. Kiara's got to get it together because I'm rooting for Kiara out here and wanting to turn her life around. I'm rooting for her, but she's gonna have to be able to walk the walk. She just can't talk about it. She's gonna have to be able to walk the walk. Now, another thing, Kiara. She mentions to the family that she's an only child, and the mother, Jay, says, "Oh, you must be spoiled." And Kiara says, "Yeah, I'm really spoiled. I'm the only child." That's not a flex at your age. It is not a flex at 30-something years old to call yourself spoiled. It's not when you're single. You see, you can be spoiled when you are in a relationship because there is a man around you spoiling you. But when you are 30-something or over the age of 20 and you call yourself spoiled, you mean you spoil yourself? Because spoiled comes from someone spoiling you. Who's doing it? Are you telling me that your parents are still paying for your lifestyle at 30? It's not a flex. Ladies, stop calling yourself spoiled when you are past 20 years old. It's not a flex. It's not a flex. But anyway, besides Kiara telling us that her ex is a convict, he's in prison, number 5463221. She also said that she also had to deal with a lot of infidelity. Oh my gosh. So a criminal who was also unfaithful. Good Lord. Goodness, good Lord. But that auntie of Jay, she was a comedian. She had the jokes flying. But Jay and Kiara said, well, mostly Kiara was saying, we got 4 kids together. He got 2, I got 2. So we're going to need to have a blended family. And Jay said, hold on. I'm not so ready for you to meet my ex or my kids because there's a good chance we don't even know that relationship with Jay with his ex yet because, everybody's accusing Jay of still being a bit flirtatious around these streets. And so we would want to see Jay with his ex. And as jealous as Kiara is, I don't know if she's going to be able to handle whatever type of relationship Jay has with his ex, I don't know, girlfriend, fiance, wife, whatever. But Jay said, anyway, I'm nervous. I'm not so sure I'm even ready to introduce Kiara to my children and my baby mama because Kiara acted a fool on this getaway. And it was at that moment when Kiara said and revealed to the family that the way that she handles conflict is through manipulation. I said it. She says, I don't communicate. I shut down because I like to teach people lessons. That's what she told us. And that's when that mama, who's been married for 25 years, said, that's a horrible technique. Thank you, mama. Thank you, mama. And thank you, auntie. That is a horrible, horrible, horrible technique. And I'm glad that they tried to impart some wisdom onto Kiara because Kiara has a horrible game plan for where she wants to go. She nearly needs to change everything. That's why I'm giving her so much advice. Y'all may be saying I'm hard on Kiara. No, this is advice I'm trying to give Kiara. Kiara decided to say, well, she can act the way she does because she's mad. And then that's when that auntie and mama had to school her one more time and say, girl, you're going to be mad a whole lot more times if you plan on being married. So if this is the way you handle situations every time you're mad, you're going to have a problem. This is childish. Just like you said, you're spoiled. Being spoiled at 30 something years old is childish. So don't claim that. That's a red flag that you're childish when you start claiming a childish title such as being spoiled. But we got to move on. We got to move on to meet Hussein, and Hussein brought his brother and cousin. And Rose showed up with a hug and a handshake. And he says, oh, are you into family? And Rose says, I sure am. My sister is my best friend. Rose got all the right answers, all the right answers. And they've been wondering what Rose has been hiding because she's too perfect. She's a Proverbs wife. And lo and behold, she reveals what she's been hiding. She got a whole convict in prison. Rose said, in her later relationships, she's gone from friends to lovers. She says she's maturing now. She says she don't have no relationship with that father of her child, not at all. And that's when she dropped, he's incarcerated. And she goes, oh, by the way, I didn't tell you Hussein, but I'm telling you your brother and your cousin first before I told you. Girl, Rose, I done told you that Hussein comes from foster care. Hussein comes from a trauma impact childhood where probably he don't trust a lot of people. So one of the worst things you can do to Hussein is lie. I'm telling you right now, one of the biggest triggers in Hussein's life has got to be that he cannot trust people, doesn't know who he can trust, has been alone for a good part of his life. He doesn't open up. So when you withhold information, lies by omission, it is one of the worst things that you can do to Hussein. And guess what? He shut down. And after this little meet the family date with Hussein was out completely. He drew a large line in the sand. It's a deal killer. It ain't going nowhere. And he dropped Rose like a hot potato, like a big old hot potato. In the end, we're going to get to it. She was mad. She was really mad. But you know what, Rose? You can't do what you want to do, tell people what you want to tell them, how you want to tell them, when you want to tell them, and then get mad at the way that they respond. Nope, that's not how it works. Just like you said, you can decide what you talk about, when you talk about it. People can decide that once you talk about it, they can decide how they're going to handle it. What was good for the goose is good for the gander. And as Hussein said, this whole relationship has been built on a lie. Rose up here bringing shirts, buying shirts from Marshalls and TJ Maxx. She over here talking about how she's a Proverbs wife, but she leaves out of the picture that her baby daddy is a convicted criminal serving time in prison. Same thing as Kara. I want to know why he went to prison. I want to know, did you know about it? I want to know, were you complicit? You might have even been involved, but just didn't. You might be Phaedra Parks. I don't know. I need to know. And by you not telling it, that's a problem. And saying, well, you didn't ask. Well, let me tell you something. I shouldn't have to ask you, is your baby daddy in prison? You should be just know that that's material information. You so busy giving me all this good stuff, right? About how you want to go to church, but yet you still over here liking Cam, and Cam just told you he don't even believe in God nor Jesus. So this tells me Rose turns a blind eye. What other blind eye did you turn, Rose, when you was dating that man who's in prison? Did he tell you what he was doing, but you turned a blind eye, just like you trying to turn a blind eye to Cam? Maybe so. I don't know. But Rose spent a lot of time covering up her red flags. And we had Angie, on the other hand, who was wearing her red flags like a badge of honor. Listen, Angie. I like Angie. Angie, I was liking her more. But here's the problem with Angie. Angie, you cannot wear your past aggressions and your red flags like it's a badge of honor. You have to show growth. I applaud you for your honesty. I applaud you for, as you say, keeping it real. But in keeping it real and with your honesty, you can't also double down and say you're still going to indulge in the same behavior. You've got to be on a road to improvement. You've got to show improvement. I've got to believe that although that's your past, you don't want no parts of it no more. That's not you anymore. You're a different person. But what Angie does is she talks about her past as if it's still her present. That's what the problem is, Angie. We love your honesty. We love at least you're telling us that you are in therapy. Well, actually, this girl did not tell us she was in therapy. What this woman told us was she is working to get her therapy license. Angie, girl, stop it. Stop it. You got to be punking me. Are you kidding me? You need to be in therapy your doggone self, as we all do. And I'm not saying therapists also don't need therapy, because they do. But you are not ready to be giving therapy sessions license to other people when you haven't even started to confront your own issues. Girl, you at least got to start confronting your own issues before you start seeking a whole nother profession that's going to take on other people's issues and problems and help them work through it. This is too much, Angie. Angie says that she's a nurturer. She says that she is a caretaker of all her 11 brothers and sisters. But then she says she's the baby of the family and she gets her way. Which one is it? Are you taking care of people, or are you a baby of the family getting your way? You know, are you the spoiled person that Kiara talks about, or are you out here getting your way? Angie, you have a lot of mixed signals, right? And that's why I don't think you're ready to love. It's a lot of mixed signals, Angie. You need to work this out. And in the end, after Hussein drops Rose, he decides, at least I know what I'm getting with Angie. I don't know if you do know Hussein. I don't know if you really know what you're getting with Angie. The only thing you know is, like she says, she's spicy and she's not perfect. But I don't think you know a lot about her either. Hussein, you might need to go home alone. You really might need to go home alone. Angie is a work in progress, but I have hope for her if she can at least start confronting her red flags and stop wearing them like a badge of honor. That's what I'm hoping for. But his choices between Rose and Angie, it's not a good choice. It's not a good choice. In fact, Hussein's friend said at first they thought they would like Rose more. But once she dropped that bombshell that she had been hiding a whole prisoner in her closet, they said, we like Angie better. We rather deal with a crazy, spicy woman who breaks car windows than to have to deal with an incarcerated man who might get out and come after us. Who knew? What are your choices? Either get beat up by Angie or get your window slashed, or possibly get beat up by some ex-convict who gets out of prison with Rose and we don't even know why he went into the joint. I don't know. But the other person over here trying to keep secrets is Cisco. We get to meet his sister, and Cisco tells his sister in Spanish, no dile nada. No delay nada. Don't tell her anything. How's my Spanish? No delay nada. No abre tu boca, cierra la boca. Close your mouth. Don't tell her anything. How is my Spanish, Cinco? And the sister said, this is the first time I've ever gotten to meet anyone that Cisco is in a relationship with. Why is that? Why has a sister at this grown age never have met any of Cisco's ex-girlfriends? Cisco has so many red flags. And no matter how you say it, in Spanish or English, red flags are red flags. Roja, roja, roja. La bandera roja. That's what Cisco is. And Tay, she's being honest and upfront and saying she's scared. She's got a lot of apprehension about Cisco's past. And what Cisco said was, I thought we were past this. This is a big old disappointment sitting here talking about this in front of my sister. I don't think Cisco is going to be really on a road to improvement. Because like I tell you, the first step to being on the road of improvement is actually taking accountability of where you are and acknowledging where you are and taking ownership of it, that you had a hand in the spot you're in. And what Cisco continually does is he tries to wash away everything and basically tell Tay and everyone else, what's the big deal? This is just a blimp in the road. It's not, Cisco. It's not a blimp in the road. And if it's such a small blimp in the road, then why don't you wait until your blimp is gone and you're on the road, on a better road? Why don't you do that? Instead of asking everyone else to overlook this blimp, which is not a blimp, it's a full-on boulder, it's a full-on obstacle, it's a lot more than a blimp in the road. But instead of asking everyone else to overlook it, Cisco, why don't you tell us how you got here, what lessons you learned, what road you're on to improvement, and then call us when you own that road. And that sister is saying these are minor setbacks. Girl, this ain't minor. This is major. This is minor when you might be like 22. This ain't minor when you in your 40s. Come on. Come on, people. This is ridiculous. And then when we got to Cam, we got to meet Cam's niece and her his cousin. And let me tell you, that niece was so lovely. That niece of Cam's was so lovely. And she was more mature than some of these ladies on this show, to be honest with you. And when the three ladies walked in, we had Angie, Sahara, and Rose. And Angie was so warm and kind and inviting. And Angie said, I want to focus on the good. I don't want you focusing on all this bad stuff about me. Were you the one telling all the bad, Angie? Angie telling people that she wants them to focus on the good, but you too busy still talking about how you bust out windows and you going to do it again if a person don't treat you right. Goodness, Angie. And then we got Rose and Sahara. Sahara comes tell her story about how she's a home health care worker. She brings the ghetto to the table. And here's the thing I got about Sahara. Sahara, I really like Sahara. I like her more. But I'm going to give Sahara some advice too. There is a way that you can stay, maintain a part of you, Sahara, that is, real, or you might call it authentic, whatever you want to call it. But it doesn't have to be so much ghetto. You need to refine yourself, Sahara. You're too old to still be presenting in the world like this. This is the way a girl presents who's young, who doesn't understand the things that are at stake. The stakes are too high at your age. When you are 17, 18, maybe the stakes aren't high to run around with this ghetto persona, but you are older now. You are out here looking to be a wife, someone's mother, a professional in the workforce. So you need to develop some different techniques, some different styles of communication. This is ridiculous, Sahara. I like you. I do like you, but this is too juvenile for me. This is too elementary. It's not sophisticated enough. And I'm not telling you to become fake and phony like Rose or even like Kiara. I'm just telling you that you can't stay here. And the reason why I'm going to tell you this is because of the dilemma you're in right now. You see, Cam likes you. I told you that once I figured out that Cam was a Captain Save-A-Hole and he wants a woman who needs him a lot. And that's what he wants, because what he wants is to make sure you're always going to be there. Because as you start to learn things about Cam that are not so great, because he ain't revealing none of his flaws either, he's going to need to know that you're not going to run. That's what he needs to know. And so what he says about Sahara is she's a ride or die. And that's what he needs. He says, I'm going to need a woman who's going to be forgiving of me when I mess up. I need a ride or die. And that's what I like about Sahara. And what that niece and cousin admitted, which I said about Cam, is he likes projects. He likes women who they said are toxic because he likes to save women, and he likes to find women who need saving, because then those women become beholden to him, and then they're willing to maybe more put up with some things that are maybe his own red flags, his la bandera roja. Okay, now we don't know what they are. I don't know what they are because he doesn't reveal them to me. But the problem now that you have, Sahara, is you also need to get the thumbs up from family and friends. You do. And although Cam is bringing in this toxic way he selects women, other people are not. And so just in this situation, Sahara didn't get the thumbs up. She didn't get the thumbs up from them because she brought too much ghetto. And this is what I mean, Sahara. You need to add a bit more class and sophistication to your game. It doesn't mean you still can't keep those parts of you that Cam loves and that Cam likes, but you need to round out your dating game, girl. It's flawed. You really need to do it, because I'm going to tell you this. The one thing that Cam's family said was that he is stubborn. There you go. He's stubborn. He want to do what he want to do, how he want to do it. So even though his family didn't give Sahara the thumbs up, and they gave Angie the thumbs up instead, he's going to pick Sahara. One is because they've already said he doesn't listen to the family. He's going to do what he wants to do, and who he wants is he wants Sahara. But he really does want Sahara with a little bit more not so much of a risk. You see, if Sahara had impressed his family, she would be a hands down winner. And she didn't impress the family. That's what Sahara needs to change. She needs to change the way that she is perceived and looked upon from others, because although she may think it's not important, it's very important. It's important in the workplace. It's important when you're in circles, social circles. It's important when you go places. You need to know how to conduct yourself in different places. Now, save all that ghetto-ness and spiciness for the home, because I'm sure he loves it. He loves it in your home. He's going to love it in the bedroom. He's going to love it all there. But you need to learn how to round out your game, Sahara. And if you can do that, and you are the ride or die chick that Cam is talking about, then maybe y'all got a shot. She says she's a yeller. She says she's a yeller and she's a work in progress. And Cam is used to toxic women. But if Cam is stubborn and you're a yeller, y'all gonna need to work on that. That's gonna be two things that don't go together. A stubborn man and a yelling woman. That could be explosive in the household. Y'all gonna need to work on that. But you know what? He took her out for a nice romantic dinner with a view of some type of water on the boats, on the marina, wherever they are. And they said, we got a lot of things in common. But Sahara said, let me let you know something, Cam. You're going to need to choose. I'm not going to sit here and let you play me like a fiddle. And I know I can make you a better person, Cam. And Cam says, I know you can make me a better person. And you know what? He knows he can make you a better person. So maybe y'all will be each other's projects. Who knows? But I'm a root for them. Of all the couples, I'm a root for Sahara and Cam. I hope they can get it together. But it was too late for Rose. And Hussein said, nope, I'm not having it. I'm done. And Rose is running around talking about, yeah, I didn't mention my husband. So what? And Hussein said, you know what? I look like a sucker sitting up there in front of my cousins, finding out for the first time your man is in prison doing 6 to 7 years. He's been locked up for 6 to 7 years. I don't know how much more time he got. And Rose sat up there and blamed Hussein for her own hurt feelings. So let me get this right. You lied by omission. He confronted you. So now you're hurt because you're in a bad spot. You're about to lose the man you liked. And because now you're hurt, you blame Hussein for your hurt feelings. Girl, zero accountability. Zero accountability. Her and Cisco, maybe they need to go out because they are both zero accountable people. And the real truth about Rose is she's ashamed. That's the real truth. The real truth is Rose was ashamed to tell everyone that she had a man in prison and that her baby daddy was in prison because she was too busy trying to present as the perfect woman, and that didn't go with her image. But that's what you did, Rose. You should have never tried to present yourself as the perfect woman. Instead, at the end, she actually revealed how talking about her relationship with him triggers a very, very painful part in her life that she wants to put behind her. That's fine, Rose. That's what you should have led with. That's what you should have led with, that hurtful period, a period of when you talked about how maybe you made a bad decision to be with a certain type of person, and now have you learned from that and grown from that. That shows growth. That shows maturity. But what you did was you didn't mention it at all, and that doesn't show growth. That doesn't show maturity. That shows you to be a liar by omission. That's the wrong thing to present. People can get behind people who've made bad decisions and chosen the wrong people. People can find ways to forgive those people because we've all made bad decisions. But what people can't get behind are people who lie, either through omission, present a different type of person, and then once we confront you on it, you try to gaslight us and tell us we're the reason why right now you're suffering hurt feelings. No. Hussein was hurt. He sat there and said, I hate this. I hate this moment, because Hussein really, really wanted to trust Rose and really wanted to walk away with Rose. And now he realized, dang, this ain't no different than when I was in the reform boys school. I still can't trust nobody. Poor Hussein. He gonna be like a tortoise going back in his shell. But they got to figure it out. The men got to figure out who they're going to choose. Cam is over here trying to figure out, I really like Sahara, but is this like going backwards because I've been with toxic women in the past? He's got to figure out, does he want to go for it? And I suspect he's going to go for it because he likes Sahara. It's hard to change old habits, and Cam isn't really aware of his old habits, so he's just going to repeat them. He's going to repeat them. And a lot of the men are encouraging him to don't bring your old baggage. Don't judge Sahara. Go ahead and choose her. And if he chooses her, which I think he will, if Sahara can do what I have recommended her to do, they might can make it. She just got to tone it down somewhat. Cam is going to have a large capacity for it because he likes it. He's done it before. But Sahara just can't take it over the top. And right now, I don't see her doing anything to control it, and she needs to do that. She needs to understand that she's got to control it if she wants to be in a relationship, period, with any man. And Cisco is over here basically wondering about Tay, saying if Tay can't get over this blimp in the road, then what's going to happen later when something else comes up? See, this is what I'm talking about with Cisco. Cisco is already talking about this blimp in the road, and it's going to be another one. And if you can't handle this one, how are you going to handle all the other ones that's to come? Because we know a lot more are coming. That's the thing about Cisco, learning no lessons, taking no accountability, but sitting here expecting everybody to get over it. Tay is crazy to choose Cisco. She is absolutely crazy. In the end, Hussein is talking about he might choose Angie. I think he shouldn't. I think Angie and Hussein need to go their own separate ways. You can go home alone. You don't have to choose nobody, Hussein and Angie. Y'all can go home alone and do your healing by yourself and come back later and then choose a person who is more appropriate for you in your healed state, as opposed to choosing a person in still your hurt space. Don't do it. And when Kim had to give Rose the news that she was going home, Rose walked up there talking about, yeah, my connection with Hussein is stronger. And she didn't even know Hussein had already dumped her the night before. Girl, your relationship ain't stronger. It ain't nothing. You have been left on the cutting room floor. And in the end, she couldn't apologize. And she says, I don't have anything to hide. Obviously, you do because you didn't talk about it, Rose. Goodness gracious. And she says, I keep it raw and uncut. Girl, you do not keep it raw and uncut. You keep it censored. Censorship. It ain't raw and uncut. And she says, if you don't know me by now, then we got a problem. Well, yes, we got a problem because don't no one know you because who you've been presenting, we don't know who the hell you are, Rose. I know who you are. She said, where is the loyalty to my lies? Can you believe someone asking you to be loyal to their lies? This is some crazy work, Rose. Just some crazy work. Rose is some crazy work, girl. This is some crazy work. She told that man, Kim, she was trying to gaslight him, for you to ignore everything else about me, but only care about this one thing. You the problem. Okay, let me get this straight. You lied to me. Therefore, I don't know how much of the stuff you even told about me was a lie or a truth, but now you still want me to continue to believe all that stuff about you. And you want to say that's what I should believe and I should ignore what I now know is the truth. And let me tell you who came out in Rose. When you saw Rose snap back on Kim with that nasty attitude, with that sharp tongue and that smart mouth, that's who Rose really is. You see, it's almost like a person with a fake accent. You know, when you're just talking to them nice and calmly, they got a fake accent. But when they get riled up, when they get heated, all of a sudden the real accent or non-accent comes out. That was Rose. She went from a Proverbs wife down to a Jezebel spirited woman. What a fall from grace, Rose. What a fall from grace. But in the end, she went home. She was sad. She cried. And I hope this is a learning experience for Rose. Rose, your truth actually would have been a better story. Your truth would have been a better story that you made some mistakes when you were young. You chose wrong. But since then, you found the Lord, you've gone to church, and you've turned your life around. That is a much better story than acting as if it never happened and you don't even know that girl. Listen, people, like I've been saying, confront your red flags. Confront your red flags and just do something about them. Stop doubling down on your red flags and having so much pride and so much honor that you can't admit that there are things about yourself that you need to change and that you want to work on, that you're working on, and what are the active steps you're doing to work on them. That's the better story, okay? But anyway, that's all I got, y'all. That's all I got. I'll talk to you later. Bye.